Shut up and sit down.
Hey everybody, Barry here again. Hey everybody, Barry here again. I'm outside again. That's so cool. I can't see because it's really bright out. But it's also wicked windy, so if you can't hear me, I'm sorry. I gotta get a couple more parts off of the parts trailer here. I need the front cover off of this engine. This is the last 5.3 that I had in the caravan. Let's move this junk. There we go. This is the last 5.3 that was in the caravan. Here's the NV3500 still attached to it because, well, I don't want to look at it anymore. But I got to pull off this crank pulley, just get the bolts out of it, pull that cam sensor and the cover, and it's got 317 heads on it. I don't even think I'm going to worry about that. They're actually full of water anyway. And I might take a couple more things if I get in there, but that's what I got on the go today. I'm going to start up doing some engine stuff. I do need to get a set of heads yet, which I have an 06 Chev truck up at the house that a local guy is going to pull down here for me because it doesn't have a rear end in it. But he's going to pull that down here for me. I'm going to pull the engine, transmission, transfer case out of it, and he can have, well, all of these vehicles that are here because I don't want them anymore. And I'm not going pulling these vehicles all the way across town for 40 bucks a car when, well, we can just work out a deal. So that works out really well there. So yeah, I'm gonna put it on a stand, and I apologize again if the wind noise is really bad because it's like 70 km/h winds here. But yeah, I'll pull this junk apart. Well, that actually worked really well, really fast. So that's all there. Everything there is fine, but yeah. So I don't need the balancer pulley or any of that. But I did find alternator and power steering bracket that I needed, and an intake with injectors in it that I forgot I had. So that's 8 more injectors in decap, and hopefully I'll get a set out of it. Fingers crossed. So if anybody has any injectors that you take out and like throw away or sell for cheap or anything, let me know, because I'd like to add to the pile and hopefully get a full set and around 70 or 80 pounds per hour. I'm gonna go in because it's super windy. Well, we're back inside, and I think what I'm gonna do for this video is organize everything, make up a checklist of what I need and what I have, and then probably end up sourcing more parts that I need. So there's a bit of stuff here. It's a bit of a mess. 2 intakes. I'm going to decide whether I'm using drive-by-wire or cable. If I am going boosted on this thing, I still got to find a turbo yet, but if I am, I'm going to use cable throttle just because I ran into a lot of issues with the Cadillac that was drive-by-wire, getting a lot of reduced engine power codes. And I don't want to get into any of that with the rat rod. I like when that thing runs really well and not just misfiring and going into limp mode, not being able to, that's a pain. Let's pick some of this stuff out. Got lots of extra injectors and stuff over here. Crank is all there. Valley covers, cylinder heads. What? Let's make a pile. Well, I think I'm gonna lay it all out here first, just to get an idea of what I have. So here is the drive-by-wire intake. Drive-by cable intake. There's map sensors in these, but I'm going 3-bar anyway. Valve springs, got a Corvette sensor. Front cover with the cam sensor in it. One lifter bucket. Injector rails that apparently are still full of gas. This is the 4/8 crank. So headers. It should be 4/8 valley cover. That's going to block off the DOE ports. Oil cooler hoses. Just going to go right here. I'm going to put an oil cooler on the rat rod. I got a ton of lifter buckets, mainly because these like to wear and I want to pick out the best set. So, set those up over here too. And get oil all over the floor. More rockers. I gotta look at these rockers and the push rods to make sure none of them are worn. These are the crank bearings from this crank. This is the 1X cam gear that's going to match this sensor, so I can run the Gen 3 crank with it, because Gen 4 block doesn't have a spot for the cam sensor to go down in through the back of the block, so I'm going to run this. And I'll have a video on how to wire that stuff up too, and how to set that up. Now these are 6-liter pistons on 6-liter rods, so I'm going to change those over. No, sorry, these are 4/8 pistons because they're flat tops. So I'm only going to be using the rods and probably the pins on this. Assuming I have 8 of them. Oh, here's the other one. You don't want to lose a piston. Here's the oil pump. It's funny how just about everything here is off a different engine. Like the rods and the crank are going to match, but that's probably it. Nothing else matches. Lots and lots of lifters. 2, 4, 6, 8. These are my header bolts. Front crossover. Man, there's a lot of parts in these engines. 2, 4, 6, 7. There. This is a lot of stuff. Oh man, I have an oil pan, I just don't remember where I put it. And here are the 6-liter pistons that are going to go on those rods. Dipstick 2. Well, I'm definitely missing my oil pan. Probably had it on the trailer. That's a lot of stuff. Well, I just went back out on the trailer and oil pan is there. That's a good sign. And the only thing I'm missing now is the heads, which I've got to pull off the other parts truck that I have. They're 706s. They're a bit rough, but everything is rough, so it'll just be a little more work. No big deal. So I think I'll probably start tearing some of this stuff down. Well, the first step is going to be to tear this thing down. Throttle cable's broke. That's no fun. And pull the injectors out. These are not very tight. I'm going to pretty much bag and tag everything, because I'm going to be doing this over the next month, 2 months, something like that maybe. So it'd be nice to know where everything is. It's not usually the way I do things. Usually it all goes in a bucket. But I'm trying. I'm still trying to figure out a color for the block. The 4 colors are red, blue, green, and yellow. And a guy commented today and said, you know, go with go with yellow, because it would be like a really bright color. And that would be pretty much probably the only thing I'd have to paint yellow. And I don't really like yellow that much, so I think it would be fine to not have to look at 10 different yellow pieces. So that's enough of that, I think. Probably gonna go with this intake. Probably gonna need another throttle cable because this one broke when I was pulling it out. That's good. That's it for that one. And we do it again. I like keeping all these small bolts, these little 8mm ones. They're never around when you need one. I've still got gas in it. Another thing to keep in mind when I'm doing this is this one is returnless. I don't know if you can see it. This one only has the 1 port in. This is a return style. I do like this one. I ran this with Boost for like a year or 2 with no issues whatsoever. I didn't need to go out and buy a eBay regulator and all that stuff. The return worked fine. And that's it for that intake for now. Injectors and injectors and injectors. More injectors. Hopefully that'll do me. Hopefully. Hopefully none of these spring clips fly out and hit me in the eyeball and ruin the whole day. I like saving these clips to stop squeaking. It's so windy here today that everything in the building is just flying around. The doors are flying open. Throw them all in here. So, a lot of injectors anyway. The last time I did decapping them, I had 30 injectors. These are hard to get out. Man. I'm not nipping an invoice because I'll break it. Last time I had 30 injectors and I got 8 that were 80 pounds. Some of them leaked and man, was contrary. So I don't know how many I have here. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. I got like 30 injectors. That gives me hope. I should be able to get a set. Some of this stuff is super rusty. Like all the clips on this injectors are all really, really rusty. This gas smells like furnace oil, which I know people put in diesel engines, but this 4.8, not really. I think this is the one that's going to have all the gas in it. And when I go home, Cass is going to say, "You're not walking in a house smelling like that." Oh yeah, this is going to be extra fun. I don't know why these are so hard to get out. Dude. Every one. Have deep creep. Somebody's got to make a tool for this. Make it so much easier. Or do you guys not work on rusty 300,000 kilometer junkyard stuff? I'm sure you guys do. I found it. Jeez, that one went airborne. I think the smell of the old gas drove the temperature up here like 10 degrees. Huh, that was way easier. Oh, this is the one that has all the gas in it. Hopefully it all comes out of the rail. Ah, stop. Oh, that stinks. Hopefully it all comes out of the rail and doesn't come out with the injectors, but these hold like a gallon of gas. So I'm gonna make a mess. Most times I think, why do I keep all this junk around? It's rusty and it's gross and nobody will ever use it. But then I go out to the parts pile and I'm like, huh, that's exactly what I was looking for. I'm not telling anybody to keep everything and never throw anything away, but it helps. Should have wore gloves. But I always tear them when I'm doing this, so I don't even bother to put them on. The clips on these are so sharp. I don't want to nip my finger. But at least I wore my good clothes today instead of something that I don't mind getting dirty. Oh yeah. Yes, pour all over the edge. Create a fire hazard. That is nasty. I have no idea how this truck ran. I can see the O-ring and it's still hooking. Oh, I don't think I sprayed anything in there. So this rag is not doing much. It's pretty much super saturated, and it's only there to make me feel better at this point. All the vehicles that I pulled these rails off ran, and they ran fine. And I know that because I drove them here, or drove them up on the dollies and pulled them here, or whatever. So I expect that all the injectors are working, but I don't expect them all to be even, especially after I decap them all. That's another set, and another set with more gas. I won't regret when I have all these taken out of the hair and my hands don't hurt. So you guys know obviously what I have on the go, because I post videos of it like every 3 days, but a lot of you guys have projects or channels that I don't know about, and I don't get a lot of time to watch YouTube channels and stuff, but I definitely watch like Sloppy and like 1320 and all those guys. There's Average Joe Builds. He's a guy who's got a definitely up and coming YouTube channel, and I know that a bunch of the guys who watch the channel here have their own YouTube channels. So I'd like to see you guys all put your channel names down in comments, which I've never said down in the comments. It sounds so dumb. Anyway, comment your channel name so I and anybody who's watching can check it out, because we're all car people here. And I like supporting car people, and I like when car people support me, and this is all cool. So, or if you don't have a channel, I still like to see your projects. I think that'd be really cool. So, if you're not on the Facebook group, check out Station Road Rat Rod's YouTube on Facebook, and like post some pictures or videos of your projects, whatever you got on the go, because I love seeing it. And if you're not on the group, I haven't seen it before, we're all a pretty solid car group. Just keep it clean. Yeah, keep it clean. No political stuff. That's kind of annoying when everybody gets in an argument about that. Oh, I won't pass out. I know you can clean your hands with gas, but like what happens when the gas is already rotten? Because it's been in the tank for like 8 months and it's absorbed water. And the stock fuel filters do absolutely nothing apparently. Man, these rails hold a lot of gas. That's doing nothing. I'm gonna go wash my hands. Oh, I'm kind of getting it cleaned up. Ugh. So much gas. Trying to soak up what I can, because this is gonna stink. And nobody wants to sell car parts for 8 hours while the whole place smells like gas. Sorry, Craig. I don't have any brake clean, so I have air intake cleaner. Which I'm pretty sure is just brake cleaner. in a different labeled can. Mint, kinda. Well, now that I've got all the injectors in a crate, in a box, I think I'll start pulling the pistons apart. And yeah, a lot of, like the 4/8 bearings are wicked. See if we can get a shot. Like, look at that. This is the engine of a creeper van these pistons came out of. It had 293,000 kilometers. So, like, can you ask for any better? And every rod looks like that. So I am super pleased at how this looks. So I'll be reusing these rod bearings, obviously. So, oh, this is all 6-liter stuff. This is 4/8. Maybe I'll pull the pistons off first. Those are all floaters. These are floaters. That's a good thing. I'm going to keep all of the pins. I'm going to keep all the pins and the circlips from all of the rods and pistons because I'm going to pick out the lightest 8 and then grind them down, like grind the rest 7 down to match the lightest one. I know a V engine is supposed to have the whole rotating assembly balanced, not just the pistons and rods together and the crank separately. But I don't have really the money to go and have the whole thing balanced. And the machine shop is like 4 hours away. So for me, taking like 6 different engines worth of stuff and putting it into one, it's not really it's a budget build. It's not really one of those, you know, high dollar builds. So I'm gonna balance it all myself. I'll be really happy to know that all of the pistons, rods, pins, and everything are all the same weight on the crankshaft. Because right now, everything here is all completely different weights, and that's not helping anything. So at the very least, this side will be balanced. All right. So again, see if I can make a part fly into the atmosphere that's not supposed to go in the atmosphere. Sometimes these can be a little bit contrary, but it'll work. And now we just snatch the pin out of the socket, or out of the piston, I should say, without breaking the piston. I should have some cardboard or something. Work. I'm not trying to barbarize this or anything, it's just sometimes it can be hard to come apart. Yep. Stack those up over here. Here are 6-liter pistons. I'll throw that in there just to keep it together. That goes there. And this is a 6-liter rod, which I'm not going to need, but could come in handy at some point, so I'm going to keep those too, because I'm a pack rat. So I've got to take into account the weight of the rings also. So I think I'll mix and match parts based on their weights. Like if I have a piston that's lighter and a pin that's heavier, I'll probably mix and match those to get to my closest target weight with the other piston, so I don't have to grind one way down and cause a bunch more work for myself. When as long as they're all the same weight, you're fine. If there's any machinists here watching and you're screaming at the screen, I'm sorry. Also, for anybody watching, I'm not a machinist. I'm not an engine builder. I'm just a guy who wants to go fast for no money. I'm sure there's a lot of those guys out there. I love this circlip or floating pin stuff. It's amazing. The first engine I built for the rat rod was an 02 5.3. So it had pressed pins, and I wanted to bump the compression up. So I got 4/8 pistons and put on the 5.3 rods. And man, that floater pin stuff is not forgiving. I ended up breaking one of the pistons when I was pressing it in. The socket slipped on the press and broke the piston right in two. And man, I was devastated. But I ended up getting another old 4/8 and bought another engine. I think it was like $100 or somebody gave it to me or something. And scrapped it only for the pistons, for one piston. And that engine ran wicked. I loved it. And that was the one, that was before I got HP tuners. And Tyler Frampton helped me tune it. Well, he tuned it for me, I should say. I was just the guy driving and he was on the laptop, and man, it ran awesome. And we were at, I think it was like 14 or 15 pounds. The rings weren't gapped because I was dead set on keeping it naturally aspirated until all the good people taught me or convinced me to make it turbo. And so we were at 14 or 15 pounds boost, 12 degrees timing, and Frampton said, man, we should keep it here, like it's running awesome. And I was like, can we squeeze this much more out? So we went a little bit more, and it was running really good. No, nothing on the knock sensors, everything was perfect. And then we got to 15 degrees, and I can see Frampton sweating. He's like, man, we're on pump gas here. This is bad. This is a 66 millimeter turbo, and it lights up instantly. And I was like, who cares? If it blows up, it blows up. So we did one 15-degree pull, and I got into it really hard, and it was screaming. And the second that I let off, it went boof. And we were doing, I think on the log it was like 160 or 170 kilometers an hour in a 170 kilometer an hour zone. And it shut off. So I was like, it got really quiet. That's different. And I was like, geez, my power steering is really, really tight. I must have busted off a belt or something. And I looked down and my tach was down on 0. I was like, we're here doing like 170. The truck is completely shut off. No power brakes, no power steering. And it's a really good thing the road was whipped straight. A lot of straight roads in Mexico. And anyway, got it back running. it took like 10 seconds on the starter. It was going nin, 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 and it couldn't even slow down any sense. And so we finally got it running, and it was like clack, 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 clack. I was like, that's not a good sign. And the rat rod doesn't have any door seals or side window seals. Like, it's a 57 Chev truck, so it's got nothing. Plus it's a rat rod, so I didn't spend that much money on it. So the whole cab started to fill with smoke, and we were like, okay, this engine is absolutely toast. Got back and did a log on it, and there was no knock whatsoever. Like, the knock sensors didn't even pick it up. So I still don't trust those. Well, it was a great laugh. And that engine pretty much set the pace for me blowing up every other engine. Anytime that I would get anywhere near 15 degrees, I break ring lands. And that's what this one did. It would break on number 5 and 7 always. It would break the top ring land off and take a big chunk of piston with it, and it would smash the second ring land and throw that outside too. But it still ran. And it had a miss, of course, but it wasn't like 2 broken pistons miss. It still had compression on those cylinders. I think it still had like 100 pounds or something like that, or 80 pounds, or. So that was my daily driver in the summer. And I love the rat rod, so I didn't want it to be down very long. So we had I had another set of pistons, or I had another engine that was building, and it was an aluminum 5.3, so I pulled the pistons out of that. And I think something like 2 days, Frampton and Rodney were off anyway. We were like 2 days or something, just plugging away at it. That one, I didn't even take the engine out. Just pulled the heads off in the truck, pulled the oil pan off, and pulled the rods up through. So, and that one lasted another couple of weeks. After I started tuning, I blew up a couple engines, mostly from just stupid mistakes. Like, I changed the low octane timing table, and forgot to change the high octane table. Pulled 3 degrees out just to be sure it was going to be good. Yeah. As soon as I got into boost, there was no knock, because there was no knock sensors, so it didn't go into the low octane table, and it went boom. I was passing a tractor trailer and buried his windshield in smoke too, so it was a good time. 6-liter pistons. I have more 6-liter pistons. I don't know why I have 7 more. Ooh, don't break. I don't know why I have 7 more, but, well, that's it. Usually I'll break ring lands on number 5 and 7, so that's like 1, 2, 3. If I blow this up, I got 3 more blow-ups. Math. So that's like basically 1 summer worth of pistons here. That's perfect. That's great. Then I got all next winter to gather up more junkyard engines. Well, so far it's all in really good shape. Nothing's grooved up or anything. I gotta figure out also, if anybody can give me any suggestions of what to soak this stuff in. Preferably something that I can get where I work through CarQuest, because I work here and I like to support CarQuest, and where I'm working right now is CarQuest. This is not really like a sponsored video or anything, but you know, Craig's like my main supporter. So, you know, something I can get through here, like I was thinking about Super Purple or Super Clean in the purple bottle. That stuff is crazy. It'll melt your fingernails off. And I was thinking of putting it in that, but I wasn't sure if it's safe for aluminum. So if anybody has any input on that, I'd appreciate it. And also, whatever solution I do use, I'll mention in a video what I think of it or how well it works. Because apparently that's what YouTubers do. This is nice and peaceful. No real stress, just taking engine parts apart. Nothing serious. The reason I'm taking all of these apart too, obviously I know I have a lot more than 8, but I'm also going to take the lightest pistons and use all those. So it'd be nice to have all of my options out. And I'll keep all of the data that I have, or all the data that I get out of this, all the measurements and everything, because if it happens that I do break a ring land or a piston, I'd like to grind these out also. If I got to replace them, I'd like to grind those out also, so it matches. Because if I'm going to be revving this to 5 bajillion RPM, it's nice to know that one part is not heavier than the other going out. That's a lot of piston. Dude. And I know this is just junkyard stuff, and I know it's not really necessary to be balancing parts and stuff like that, but I just enjoy it. I want to try and do new things. Also, while we're talking about that, destroking a 6-liter does nothing. Like, I'd make more power if I just built the 6-liter. But the reason I'm not, mainly is just because I want to do this, because why not? But the other mainly is because I actually don't have a 5.3 or 6-liter crank. For anybody who doesn't know, 5.3 and 6-liter share the same crank. I just don't have one. So, I do have a good 4.8 crank. It'd be really cool. These are dish pistons. It'd be really cool to have flat tops, and I could keep as much compression as possible. But finding flat top 6-liter pistons is near impossible. And if anybody has flat top 6-liter pistons, they've got the rest of the 6-liter going with it. And it's a lot of money. And kind of the funny part about it is, I had an LQ9, the flat top 6-liter pistons, 6-liter HO or whatever they call it. I had one in the Cadillac when we bought it. And I put a turbo on it, and then I blew it up. So, bye. I found it. So I had one of those engines, and it ran like a charm. not realizing at the time that it had like almost 500,000 kilometers on it. And it probably wasn't happy about having 10 pounds shoved through it. But it wasn't up to the engine. It was just along for the ride. Woohoo! 6 liters are done. Now you start with 4/8 pistons. There's 4 of these. Now these 4/8 pistons I'm not concerned about. What I need is the rods, and I'm going to keep the bearings right where they are in the rod because I'll use them on the same cylinders that they came out of. And I may even balance it with the bearing in the rod. I don't know if people do that or not. I don't think I've seen that. But, hey, I haven't really been known to make educated decisions for a lot of stuff. If anybody's like, you shouldn't do that, I'm like, who says? I'd rather prove myself wrong than have somebody not like tell me not to do something and then I get discouraged and not do it. It's a lot more fun this way. This is the 4/8 stuff. So I don't need this, so I put it over there. Now while I'm here, I could actually put the 4/8 pistons on those 6-liter rods, and the next time I do a 5.3, I'd have a set of flat top pistons and rods already assembled and put in. Yep. So whatever's left over from the weigh-in, from the pins and clips, I'll put in those rods. And then I can make another really good 5.3, because the 5.3 with flat tops, with 862 heads, or 706 heads, whatever, made 10.7 to 1. And it was wicked snappy. I had just an LS1 cam in it. And that was it. I ported the heads. And not like CNC ported. I mean, I did it with a little carbide bit. And I could start off in 4th gear with 411 gears, start from a dead stop. And go right to the limiter doing a burnout. Just let the clutch out at like 3,500 and do a rolling limiter burnout in 4th gear. It was exciting. And it was even more nuts with the turbo on it, but at the very least, I could build an engine out of it. The 6-liter that's in the Caravan now is the first engine that I didn't tear apart. Every other engine I always tore them apart and painted them. And all those engines are in the crusher now, so. 4/8. I expected Cass to be here rev bombing the life out of the Cadillac by now. She must be working late. This is super exciting. I'm so glad that I'm at this engine finally. I've been wanting to build a destroked 6-liter ever since I started this LS stuff. I always loved destroked engines, just the way they sounded, I don't know. And I might potentially, by the time this video comes out, which is a couple days from today, I might potentially have the cam ordered, which it looks like I've been talking to Jorge and we've been talking about it. And I really think it's going to be a sloppy stage 3 cam. Which again, is ridiculous and not necessary. But I don't care. So, yeah, sloppy stage 3 will work perfect with these springs. And it is a ridiculously chunky engine. Like, super crazy, insanely chunky. And that's what I want. I don't need the rat rod to make 1,000 horsepower. Cass doesn't want it to be a race truck or a dedicated street / race truck, anything like that, just to be a good driver, but it's got to sound right. And also be able to just melt the tires off. So that's why I'm still really, really want to put a turbo on it, because that's just me. I've had them for the last few years now and I just can't let go. There's always something in the driveway with a turbo on it, so. And no, it's never a VS Racing billet, 78, 75. It's garbage dump truck stuff, but it makes boost and it makes me smile. So the rat rod is either going to be completely NA or with the turbo. And with these pistons, these dish pistons and 4/8 rods, 4/8 crank, it's going to be around, I think it's like 9.5 to 1. So I'm not concerned about making too much compression for pump gas and blowing it up because of that, or because of a lot of heat and stuff. So I don't mind putting a turbo on it, but I'll be okay if it doesn't have a turbo. So, geez, I think we're doing well so far. Man, I just realized how long this video is. I'm so sorry. We got to talking. Stuff happens. So I was just talking to Cass on the phone. I was like, well, I might as well gather up a few more parts while I'm here. And I found the Holy Grail. See this little unassuming white box that at one time had an MSD LS 2-step in it, which is going on the caravan. Anyway, this thing here, I opened it up and I was like, holy! There's some EV6 plugins or EV1s or whatever they are here. We don't need those. If anybody needs these, actually let me know. I'll just mail them to you, because I'm never going to use them. Also, there's these, which I guess are like flex fuel injectors maybe. Not going to use them. But there's a lot. A couple of them I already got decapped, so I think I probably already flowed those. That one. This is good. Lots and lots of injectors here, man. Hope I'm not going back and forth with the camera too fast. More injectors. Even more. This is so exciting. Oh, wait, no, that's the right one. Okay, I definitely have enough injectors. And there's another one of these. I don't like these locks. I never use them. They just hurt my fingers when I'm cold and I'm trying to unplug them. Actually, let's just do this. Oh, yes. So that's a huge score. Exciting. I never know if I have enough injectors. And I'll flow them all anyway and clean them just to make sure. Any bad ones I'll toss. Any good ones I will put in a bag labeled 60 pounds per hour, 70 pounds per hour, because in another year I might need another set of injectors, and at least I'll have a bunch already flowed. So I'll make sure they don't leak and stuff. And that'll be another video, because I made up my own stupid looking flow bench where I have a piece of 2x4 clamped into the vise with a rail on it with an electric fuel pump. It basically looks like a bomb, and I wouldn't stand too close to it. So I think Cass is here to get me now, so I am gonna go. And didn't get like a lot done in this video, but we have a plan. And it's gonna be a good plan. I think it's gonna work really, really well. Pistons, injectors, check. Everything else, sort of check. I think I pretty much have everything. Cam is soon coming, hopefully, or soon be ordered. Heads, hopefully they're not messed up. 706s apparently have an issue with cracking between the valve guides, whatever. I'll make sure everything's all good there. And we'll continue this as it's going. It's probably going to be a lot of these long videos, but you know, I kind of like doing this one-on-one thing where we can talk and ask questions and you guys can answer questions. Time lapse is all fun when I'm doing something that I've done 25 times and it's just repetition. But this whole me going right through an engine build, I haven't really done before. So hopefully you enjoy it. And it'll be lots of different stuff, not only building engines, but if I see something that I'd like to record, well, you're welcome to watch it. So thanks for tuning in again. And thanks to all the new subscribers. There's a pile of you. I think I hit 3650 today. So closer to 4,000 than I have 3,000, which is a pipe dream 6 months ago or 8 months ago. And that's really exciting. And thanks to my YouTube members and patrons. If you want to check out the Patreon, it is patreon.com/stationroadratrods. And thanks for watching. Have a good day, everybody.